In a past video, I talked about this idea of the man who lost his horse, Sai Weng Shima Yan Zhi Fei Fu, that how do we know it's not a blessing? When good things happen, it could be bad. When bad things happen, it could lead to something good, but that we never really know what's going to happen. Today, I'd like to talk about a tale from the Talmud, so a Jewish story that is adjacent to this very idea, but looks at it from a bit of a different angle, and of course from a different religious paradigm, or rather from a religious paradigm, than Sai Weng Shima, which is a religious story, we could say. Though, of course, you can attribute any religion that has, when bad things happen, it could lead to something positive with this story. So this is a tale of Rebbe Akiva, who is, if you are unfamiliar, often considered like the greatest rabbi that ever lived. This is a long time ago, and Rebbe Akiva was trying to get to a town encampment where he could safely spend a night. And when he got there, he was denied entry, saying, no, there's bandits around, so we can let you in come daylight, but for now you're going to have to be on your own. And so Rebbe Akiva goes out into the wilds to camp on his own, and it's very dark, but he has three things with him. He has a candle, a lit candle that can light his way. Isn't that wonderful? And then he also has his donkey and a rooster. Now, as soon as there is no more light, and he's now in complete darkness save his candle, a gust of wind blows it out. And when that happens, he's in complete darkness with his donkey and his rooster. And so he says a famous Aramaic phrase, Kol da'avid Rachmana latav avid, that everything that the merciful one does is for the best. And then a cat comes and eats his rooster, and he says the same thing. Kol da'avid Rachmana latav avid. Everything that the merciful one does is for the good. But then a lion comes and eats his donkey, and he says the same thing again, that everything that God does, the merciful one, Rachmana, is for the best. And so he spends the rest of the night in darkness, without his companions, without his donkey and his rooster, and he's completely alone. Come morning, he goes back to the sort of encampment, the fortress city that he's trying to stay at, and it turns out that it had been raided by bandits. So had he been in that city, had he been allowed entry, he could have been killed. Had the lion not taken his donkey, the donkey might have brayed and revealed his location. Or had the cat not taken his rooster, then it would have crowed and he would have been known. And had the wind not blown him into darkness, then he would have been seen. So it's not this is a very specific tale, but given those specific circumstances, we can likely understand that what the tale's surface level lesson could be is that, so these things that were bad that happened actually ended up helping Rebbe Akiva to be safe and be okay. However, on a deeper level, something that is important to note, I think, is that this phrase that everything that the merciful one does is for the good is not, it's not saying that Rebbe Akiva is happy that this is happening. In fact, it's specifically not. So rather what it is saying is that, yes, these things happened. I'm upset by them. I don't like that they happened. It is a type of pain in a way. It's inconvenient. It's potentially dangerous. And it certainly is not positive. I feel most people who would be in this situation that Rebbe Akiva is in would see all three events, and I guess four, including being denied entry into this town, as negative things. If they happened upon you, you might be upset. However, later it comes to light that there were actually very positive outcomes, and had any of those negative things not happened, then it would have been very, very bad. And we could say that it would be objectively bad, that bandits would have killed Rebbe Akiva. So here, I believe that the lesson truly is we don't have to necessarily be pleased when something bad happens to us. In fact, we don't want something bad to happen to us. However, should something that we consider bad happen, then Rebbe Akiva might argue it would be best to withhold your judgment of whatever that event may be, because something wonderful might come from it. And through this lens, through this Rebbe Akiva lens, this Talmudic lens, this Jewish lens, we would say, so God is looking after me. So I will trust that everything that happens is as it should be, and I'll react accordingly. But if you are not a religious person, or you ascribe to a different religion, one that doesn't necessarily believe in a monotheistic God, right? In an infinite that carries finity, then we can still learn from this lesson. We could still learn from Rebbe Akiva. Certainly there have been times where in the moment you thought something was quite negative, and then later on you might even be glad that it occurred. Certainly there are times that we feel we are suffering, feel we have been dealt an unlucky hand, and then later on it is because of that very unlucky hand that we are all the better. I can certainly think of many analogous times in my personal life that I wouldn't have any other way. But of course, when we were in that moment, we would have wished with all of our might to not be in that situation. And yet, in retrospect, we might say it's for the best. So if this has ever happened to you in your life, then I would suggest, I would implore you to think, should it happen again in a different form, then you can look back to those previous times where you came out okay, or you were all the better for whatever thing you deemed as a suffering, terrible situation in the moment. And just like Rebbe Akiva, you can say, Kol da'avid Rahman alatov avid. Everything the merciful one does is for the best. And that is to say, if we take our religious goggles off for a moment, that even though I don't like this, I'll trust that I will grow from it and be all the better. So here on this bowl, I've done my best try right now with the skills that I have at carving Rebbe Akiva, holding his candle, and a donkey and a rooster in the desert at night. And I've put little accents of red and yellow into the white clay body with underglaze. And I'm very happy with it. So I hope you've enjoyed this story and this carving, and that next time you're in a situation you deem unfavorable, that you think once more to Rebbe Akiva, and you think, maybe this too is for the best. Have a wonderful day, everyone.